Afternoon all, tree prepper here. So the back porch is sealed as much as it's going to get, which is the good thing. The door's been the wood putty's been knocked out. It's been sealed with caulk. I got angle iron up. I'll show you that in a minute. It is not airtight, and it won't be airtight, but it is that portion where the wind blows should blow a lot less of a wind draft in here when it starts blowing and it gets cold, which we've had some cold already, but winter is being wonky. I think we're supposed to be warmer than normal through Christmas. I think in January the bottom's going to drop out. So an update on the Dodge Dart. I gave up trying to get the mechanical fuel pump bridging line off because I have a mechanical pump to pump to the carburetor. So I spent 2 days, about 2 hours each day. I had to drop the rear tank again because some stuff from the inlet pipe fell in the tank when I was putting the inlet pipe in. The day before that, I plumbed in all but one section of fuel line to the carburetor, and then the next day I dropped the tank, put it back in. Yesterday I tested the fuel pump. I had to prime the fuel pump, but it's pumping fuel now, but it still wouldn't start. I discovered that the inlet pipe to the carburetor was clogged. Got that off. I needed to replace it, but it didn't work. So I tried something else, but in the end I got it to run. Of course it didn't idle, and the carburetor is leaking fuel everywhere because the seals have been dried out, hadn't been on the road or driven since 1999. It did blow some blue smoke, but I don't think that's really completely abnormal since it hadn't been driven on the road since 1999. But it did start up and run, and the alternator works. All right. So I did go to the parts store today to see about getting a brass fitting that I needed. Couldn't find one. Went to Tractor Supply, couldn't find one. What do you call it? Which is why I did what I did, and I think that part worked, but the carb itself, all the seals are dried out and it's leaking. So while I was there, I got some oil for it, and what I'll probably do while I'm waiting on the parts to show up, and I'll tell you what those are here in a minute. I'll get it up on jack stands on the front and get underneath it, drain the oil that's in it, put new oil in it, and then put some oil degunker in it. And then the parts that I ordered were not cheap, but I'm almost certain I'm not going to put the Dodge 340 that I have for it in it. I'm tired of waiting on the guy that's doing the build. I paid him the money for the bottom end, and it's still not together. Been by there 3 times checking on it, and I told the guy, I said, look, I've been by here 3 times, and I've already paid you. So he said he would get it back in rotation, get it back together, but I may just take it apart. I don't know. I may sell it to somebody I know who wants it. So I really wanted like a muscle car, like a fucking the V8 sound, but it's $20,000 to convert it to that, and $8,500 of that would have been just the motor, not counting a bell housing, clutch, pressure plate, transmission mount, headers, oil pan, valve covers, carburetor, drive shaft, and a rear end, and new wheels and tires all the way around. So maybe at a later date, I don't know, I might keep the block and maybe next year order the parts that I need to finish out the top end of the motor. I don't know, but I've got people in the car club that might be able to help me put it together if I order the kit. Anyway, in the end, the carburetor is not available. The vendors are out of stock. I went home and I tried to look up a single barrel carburetor for it, and they make them for 74s, but I don't know if it's the same carburetor, so I don't know if it would work. In theory it should, but there's linkage and all kinds of other shit that I might have to deal with. And since I'm leaning towards keeping the slant 6, I'm probably, well, not probably, I ordered a 4-barrel intake like my wife's Dodge truck has, and then I ordered a 500 CFM carb. I ordered the cable kit for the accelerator, carburetor linkage stuff. It's a manual choke. So I'm closer. It's going to be a half a day or a full day of cutting and fitting the Offenhauser intake, because there are lobes that will prevent it from going together. That particular setup, there's 3 bolts that hold the intake on top of the exhaust manifold, and that whole system bolts to the block. So I'm going to have to get a gasket. So, you know, it is what it is. So I already got the air cleaner coming. Hopefully it comes with a filter. So basically 2 to 4 days of hard work on that, then it should be running. We'll still need to order some ancillary parts, and then it'll be time to get the brakes all the way around redone. And once that's done, I think I have the bearings already to redo the front. If I do that, then I will need to take it to a shop for the back, and then I'll need to, for sure, at least grease the drive shaft, and then figure out the transmission. I gotta pull the plug that's on it and see if I can see if there's fluid in it. If there's fluid in it, in theory it should be okay, because that stuff really doesn't go bad, but I will probably drain it and then refill it. Now, how I'm going to drain it, I'm not sure. It might be one of those where I gotta do a liquid suction on it. So it is 3 on the tree, so it is not going to be a big risk on it being stolen, because nobody knows how to drive a manual. Some big news, and it's not really news, it's just information. It's news for me, but I am a Native American from Alaska, and I own stock in a Native American corporation. And they sent out, I don't know if it was a blanket email to everybody or just to people who had degrees, but I applied for a director's position up in Anchorage, Alaska at Siri Corporation. It'll be months before anything is decided on it. I'm probably one of the few candidates that has no financial ties or anything to the corporation, and nobody's bribing me. And there are questions on the thing that talk about that. And then they ask about felony convictions and all that stuff, and fraud. Of course, I don't have any of that. And, so we'll see. It's like 200 hours a year. You have to attend meetings, so I don't know how much money it's going to make me. There's also a Vietnam Veterans Era land grant program, and I filled out the form. I've printed it out. I got to check it, but I got to get copies of a couple of things and then package that up and mail it in probably in the next week or so. It has to be postmarked by December 29th. So basically they're trying to give Native Americans a land grant, and it's Vietnam veterans or descendants. So I'm a descendant and I'm Native American. So I didn't exactly understand how to fill out the paperwork. So I may go back and fill it out the way it was filled out, is that I am the eligible person, because I think that's the way it works. But right now it's got my dad on there and his DD 214 because he's a Vietnam veteran. So I would tell everybody that you need to, I mean, the ultimate goal in prepping is probably some kind of homesteading with your own private water source, preferably two. You know, and Alaska is kind of getting scratched off of my list of places that I thought I might want to go, because there are, according to Alaska Prepper, and his name is Rudy, he's retired military, he's in Alaska, I think the Fairbanks area. He's saying that they're bringing in digital ID up there already, so that shit's coming. So real quick, I'll show you. The Dodge Dart also had to have the fuel tank replaced. So, and the inlet pipe gasket, that's all done. Obviously, because it was running. But this is the last piece that will seal the door. I put in this piece all the way to the floor before. Come on. I'm riding dogs. So I wired in and installed a fuel pump, new battery, tie down system, kit, new ground plug or new ground wire, and this is the fuel before fuel pump, rigid after fuel pump before the carburetor. And like I said, it's leaking fuel everywhere, so it is going to need to be done. Anyway, so I'll give you an update. The back porch is basically done. I think this is going to be next. And then after that, I can jump on the wood insert for the master bedroom door. Let me do that. Come on, you mutts. Come. Anyway, just an update. It doesn't seem to be anything but bad news. So you need to be cognizant of that. You need to be aware. I would tell you, I haven't stopped listening to prepping channels, but I'm to the point where I listen to some things, but most of them, and I was a part of that bandwagon for a while, like, oh my God, the sky's falling, you gotta do this, gotta do that. But just keep prepping, keep working it, work your list. I already made a recommendation 2 years ago, make a list of what you want to get done for the year. We'll work on it, you know, cover your top 5 first: food, water, shelter, security, and medical, and then work on everything else. All right. Information is knowledge and power. Live to low, prepper a lot, share the love. Chief Prepper out.